What's the best piece of advice that you have received? Who wants to go first?
I'll take that.
A ver.
I think the best advice I received was really from my parents, and they said that you only have one reputation. And it's part of what I said earlier. It's about the core values of who you are as an individual, and and you should protect your reputation. Today we would call it your brand, right? But that then it was basically protect your reputation and make sure that you are absolutely rock solid and uncompromising in your core values, your integrity, how you live your life, and how you treat others. And you only have one reputation, so you better protect it and guard it as if it's the most sacred thing in the world for you. And that's what I've always told people. I think the best advice I've ever got.
And who do you go for advice?
Who do I go for advice?
Yes.
I've tried to be a real student of behavior. I mean, I know we all have mentors and relationships, but I've really tried to learn something from virtually everybody that I come in contact with inside and outside the target organization. So as I think about the skills I've acquired and the person I want to be, I always look for what's the good that I can take away from that individual. And I'm always envious because someone does something very, very well, and it's like, boy, I'd really like to be like that person in that particular regard. And on the other hand, you also learn what you don't want to be as you go through and you interact with individuals inside and outside the organization. So I've always really tried to pay close attention and be very present in all of the encounters that I have. And on the flip side, I try and be a mentor, not to one, but to the top 600 people in our organization. And our head of HR, Jody, and I make a commitment. We interview the top 600 individual, which consumes a heck of a lot of time, but it's the single most important thing that I do and that we do, is to make sure that we're really committed to the talent management principles. And so we spend a lot of time, but as part of that is I really want to make a connection with that individual, and I want to be an individual that's approachable. So as the CEO, I want every one of those 600 top leaders of Target to feel comfortable stopping me in the hall, in a store.
So you actually spend time with them?
I do. We interview, and when I meet them and we have leadership forums, I reconnect, and I want to be the kind of leader that they can feel comfortable asking advice, or what do you think about that, or just even questions about the business. I want to be available and accessible, and that develops that relationship. And that not only builds their confidence in our relationship, but it's a great retention strategy as well, because they know I care about them and their career.
That's very important. Mark, best piece of advice?
I think the best piece of advice was being present in the moment. And Greg just said it, but being present in the moment, giving your very best to every interaction with the people that you are with. And it was shared with me in a story. When we are all born, that birth is considered a miracle. And each breath we take is a miracle. And that for every moment we worry about the past, which we cannot change, or worry about the future, which we're not guaranteed, our next breath, we are missing that moment of a miracle, being in the present with the people you're with and giving your very best to every relationship, both from the standpoint of learning and from providing leadership.
Interesting. My doctor told me, don't live in the past. People who live in the past get depressed. People who live in the future get anxious. So live in the present. That's great. Who do you go for advice?
Well, I'm very networked. So I would say that I'm constantly reaching out to people who I know, who I don't know. I spend, not as much now, but up until probably a year and a half ago, 2 nights a week having dinner with somebody I don't know. And learning the very best I can from them as a way of networking. That builds that phone call list of people that call me with ideas, opportunities, and problems. And so between the two, knowing what I do best, that I like to do, and having a very wide networked circle provides me with the opportunity to learn every day.
Wow. Rob?
I'm not going to be as eloquent as the previous two, but a few things come to mind. Be here now, which is very much along the same lines, and which has been something that I've really tried to live. It's hard to. Listen more and speak less. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, and that has taken me very far. And then the one from my marriage that my wife of 21 years has taught me, which is, you were right, I was wrong.
I love that.
That was, and that will take you really far as well. So, sorry, And
Paul.
Tremendous wisdom in that statement. I think all of this has been great. Greg's point about creating a reputation, I couldn't agree more. That's a very eloquent description. I think if the one thing that I would add that maybe hasn't been said is I believe that you have to, the best advice I ever got was make people around you successful. You know, what I have found is that life puts you, and businesses put you, and your personal affairs put you in situations where you have all manner of people around you. And, you know, you don't always have the option of having everyone confident and prepared for the mission they've been given. And sometimes people lack confidence, sometimes people lack inspiration, sometimes they lack, I always think of the Wizard of Oz, you know, the lion lacked courage, the Tin Man lacked heart. You have to find what it is people need, I believe, sometimes to make them successful. And I think if you focus on people and focus on what their needs are, help them be successful, I have found that if the organization is successful, you will be successful too, most of the time. I meet with a lot of our junior colleagues on these talent reviews, similar to what Greg's talking about, and I always hear, well, Paul, what tip can you give me? What do I need to do to get ahead? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to go learn? I just say make your team successful. You know, make your team successful, but really focus on the team and figure out a way to help them. And I think that's always been very successful for me.